Hi, Carlo, and
Hi.
welcome to our daily interview. Now that the Biennale is open, what can you tell us about the visitor experience you have curated? And how are audiences engaging with the content beyond just passively consuming it?
Yeah, we wanted this Biennale, we really wanted to engage different type of audiences, but also different ways to engage with the content. And for instance, I've always thought about this. Remember that movie by Jean-Luc Godard called Bande à part, where actually people go through the whole Louvre Museum in 8 minutes. And so we tried last night. So here you can go through the whole Biennale in around 5 minutes, and then you see the gist of it. You can go in 50 minutes, and you get to know a bit more. We got this kind of little caption, little summaries with AI, telling you in a synthetic way what this is about. You can go in 5 hours and you see most of it, or if you really want to get every single thing, probably will take you 5 days. But I think that's why we built it almost like a fractal organism, like a kind of like nature would do, like a system that repeats itself and that you can enjoy different resolutions.
Amazing.
And by doing that, we also want to be able to engage with different audiences. One of the projects here at the Biennale is with different people, including Stefan Peterman, and it's about bursting the bubbles, how we can actually talk to different audiences and hybridize the way that people come together. And because this topic, the topic of adaptation, is actually something that touches all of us.
And talking about the theme, in your opinion, how are participating projects addressing the evolving relationship between natural and artificial intelligence within the built environment?
Yeah, well, that is really the point. I mean, this Biennale titled Intelligens, we spell it with a Latin word because we wanted just to get the common root. We wanted to have just one single title, not to have the traditional Italian and English title. But Intelligence, Natural, Artificial, Collective is really about how architecture can bring together all different forms of intelligence and do that, bridge it, and actually help adapt to a changing climate and to a changing planet. So that's really the point of what we're trying to do. And the subdivision you see is a bit artificial, we could say, quotes. It's a bit artificial because in reality, as you can appreciate, as you're moving from one section to the other, all of them blend. But we thought it was easier to understand by splitting 3 sections. You start with natural, then artificial, then collective.
And with over 700 participants, I counted them, across diverse disciplines, how did you approach maintaining coherence while embracing such a wide range of voices and methods?
That is the point about what we were saying, kind of like a superorganism. And a superorganism of the Biennale has this fractal structure, and it does in a way when you're moving and walking through the Corderia, the Arsenale, projects blends one into the other. And they got different scales. And again, that's how, yes, it's a lot of them, but you can also combine them and get, more like a fast reading or go down and see each of them. So that's what we try to do. And I need to say I'm really, really thankful to what SAB in Berlin have done, and an amazing exhibition design that really was responding to the input we gave, this idea of creating a fractal organism, eating up the Biennale.
And how do you hope this concept influences the way architects and visitors approach the Biennale and architecture more broadly?
Yeah. Well, if I need to say this, I would say that probably one way to look at the Biennale as well is this kind of chain reaction. There was a chain reaction at the beginning when I was traveling. I met different people in different countries. When I was in a city, we would do a salon, a dinner, a lunch, sometimes a breakfast or whatever. And it was this kind of small discussion. Then there was a chain reaction with the Space for Ideas, the open call during the summer. For the first time in the history of the Biennale, we had a kind of open space where people could send their projects. I believe in many teams that would put together people from architecture, from design, from mathematics, from physics, from sociology, writers, cooks, coders, people dealing with fashion. So in this, there was a kind of a chain reaction in its own right inside the team. And also you can see this about with the project resonating is another kind of chain reaction. So that could be a way to look at it, and I hope that this continues with your experience, with people experiencing, coming here to Venice, and that this chain reaction will continue. That probably for me will be the most important legacy for the Biennale.
I want to ask you about artificial intelligence. So AI is often framed either as a powerful tool or a potential threat also. Through the lens of this Biennale, what kinds of nuanced perspectives have emerged in your opinion?
The great Bucky Fuller used to say you can either be an architect of the future or you will be a victim. And I think so, yes, there's many problems with AI. Myself, I'm very concerned. I'm concerned about things related to privacy, other things related to algorithms and biases and things spinning out of control. But at the same time, the only way we can cope with that is by trying, by being architects of the future, by playing with that so we can understand the limits, the risk, and by doing that, using the technology in the best possible way. That's what the Biennale tries to do, also with some speculative projects. It's very important also to fail, to look at things that explore the dark side of things so that we kind of can decide what to avoid tomorrow.
So, and also architecture today addresses urgent climate, social and political challenges. In what way does this edition explore architecture evolving intelligence in response to these crises?
This Biennale is about adaptation and how we can leverage different forms of intelligence to adapt to a changing climate, to a changing planet. And so if I do summarize it in one line, I would say, like Bas Meyer, we were discussing with him before in the Belgian Pavilion, I would say architecture is survival.
So many projects are described as open-ended and research-oriented, and you mentioned this also now. How do you see this approach influencing the future of architecture exhibition and biennials more broadly?
Yeah, traditional architecture has been kind of based on the idea that you can still find in movies such as The Fountainhead. Remember this idea of the Promethean architect, one person, making decisions for millions of people and everybody else just following. And also in terms of authorship, there's always been the architect and everybody else was a consultant. Now we try to break that here at the Biennale. This year, everybody contributing to a project is invited in the same way. They're all invitees to the Biennale. They can be a Pulitzer Prize winner, can be a Nobel Prize winner, can be somebody just out of university, all them working together, but invited in the same way. I think changing authorship is very important, and I think we can learn a lot from academic publications. In academic publication, every name is there, then you can acknowledge how everybody contributed to, but somehow is a much more democratic way to acknowledge authorship, and I think that's what we need to do.
Is this your input as an academic person also?
It might be influenced by academia, and myself, I've been working on many papers with others. Again, it's important that everybody's acknowledged, and also you say how, not just as one name and everybody else is second tier.
Yeah, and you mentioned that this Biennale is about asking questions rather than offering definitive, let's say, answers. What is one key question you hope every visitor leaves asking themselves?
I think the key question relates to what we were saying before, is how we can adapt to a changing planet and how we can do it together.
And finally, in your view, what distinguishes this edition from previous Venice Biennales, and what kind of legacy would you like Intelligens to leave behind?
If you look at the Biennale a bit like a chain reaction, again, something that started with the salons, continue with the open call, continue in every team, and then also with what we're seeing this year, we got the national participation are kind of singing the same song. They're also coming together and looking at the same themes. But if you look at all of that, then success will be that this chain reaction doesn't stop in Venice, but continues beyond the Biennale.
So impacting the discipline of architecture itself.
There is impacting the discipline of architecture, but also more generally, how we face the most important problem today, adapting.
Amazing. Carlo, thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank
you so much.
Wonderful to see you.
Yes. Yeah.